Let's move over to C.R.E.A.M Finance, which is a meme that has become extremely destructive. C.R.E.A.M Finance is a DeFi protocol that launched summer 2020, and now they have lost a lot of people's money. The DeFi project was exploited this morning for over $1 billion, and the hacker got away with over $100 million. This all affected funds on the Ethereum blockchain. C.R.E.A.M Finance operates on multiple different blockchains like Binance Smart Chain as well. And right now, the hacker seems to be liquidating their funds through different mixing protocols. So it looks like they're going to get away with a lot of it if they're quick enough. This is a huge exploit, not just in terms of the $100 million that they're walking away with, but also it took down an entire DeFi protocol, which hasn't happened very often, especially for something this large. $1 billion is a ton of money, and I'm sure that's going to draw in a lot of regulatory eyes into the space on it. Zach, I want to throw this one over to you.
Yeah, big numbers here, well articulated by our colleague Andrew Thurman, even though the numbers are different, right? So $1 billion was taken, $1 billion was drained, 130 million was taken, 40 million of that is illiquid. So we are right to think about this as a $100 million exploit. Will, check me on this. I could be talking totally crazy, but didn't this happen to C.R.E.A.M? Probably not the same exploit, but wasn't there a similar exploit that happened to C.R.E.A.M? Did you say that in your intro? Did I mess that up?
It did have, I didn't say in my intro, but it did happen in February, I believe. There was a C.R.E.A.M hack as well. I don't remember how big it was though.
Yeah. So, again, I think, this just, again, speaks to the experimental nature of DeFi, right? And I think as regulators start paying attention to this stuff, the more examples that happen sort of toward the later end of this cycle, the more likely we are to see sort of regulatory pushback and like hand-wringing about what these platforms mean for users and how to protect them. So I think as it relates to like the current context around DeFi regulation, which we've seen some headlines about in recent months, I think this one, could be a big one that sort of bubbles up into a bigger, awareness of some of the risks that are inherent to this space as people are able to sort of parse through these open code bases and find ways to game the system. So I'd be curious to see if this one became kind of a talking point in DeFi regulation. It's really obviously too early to tell. This just happened like a few hours ago, maybe if that. But it would be interesting to see if this one stuck as a talking point when we think about how DeFi can sort of be compliant with existing financial regulations. So that to me, rather than the money in this one, is what I'm going to be watching from here out.
Totally, yeah. It's a novel exploit. Oh, go ahead,
sorry,
Jen.
Go for it.
Oh, who's even talking? I thought Jen was talking.
It was me.
Just mixing everyone up.
I know, you can't tell the difference. We're both from the Commonwealth.
Just like,
I'm just reiterating.
And we're so short.
You're all the same person to me.
Yeah. That's all right. All right. Well, I was just going to say, I'm going to reiterate what you guys have already said. Big risks that you take for the potential of big upside, big rewards. And, it just goes to show like even these kind of well-established platforms that are not flash in the pan, that have been around for a while and kind of established a reputation, it takes people to actually look at the code for it to be audited, right? And even when you do audits, people can miss things. Like it's very easy. Like software is filled with bugs. So just be aware of the risks before you pour your money into these things. I mean, it kind of speaks to the exuberance right now with all of this money we see flying around, all of the VC capital we see flying around, all of the people just like betting big on these crypto platforms. Like there is just such wild exuberance. And it's kind of what happens when you just have a tremendous amount of money being put into people's hands and you get all this malinvestment and augmentations in the markets. And we're just seeing the economy kind of go crazy right now. And people are kind of desperate as well. They're looking for things to safeguard their wealth. They're looking for things where they can get big returns because they're worried about the future. There's this kind of like low-level anxiety that, you can kind of feel. It's palpable right now. But people are worried about the future. They're just not sure what's coming next. And so it leads to kind of these irrational decisions and just throwing money after money into things because they think that it could set them up for life in a time of uncertainty. So just be careful out there, guys. Do a lot of research. These platforms, they're really interesting. Play around with them if you can, but just understand the risks involved with all of this stuff.